It's great to have you join us this evening. Welcome to Capital Markets. I'm Temple Ashaju. Coming from a 3-day holiday this week, sentiment decreased as investors took profits following impressive gains in the previous week. In the equities markets, the downtrend was sustained as the index closed in red on the only 2 trading days in the week. Activities in the bond markets were bearish following the decline in average yield on benchmark bonds during the 2 trading sessions. Now, while the T-bills market also remained at last week's average of 9.4% as investors awaited the central bank's auction, which eventually took place yesterday, Friday. Now, during the week also, the central bank intervened in the management of one of the listed banks in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We're talking about Skye Bank PLC. That decision opened the sentiment for most investors across the market segments. Now, as we go on with the program, more details about Skye Bank's new management will be unfolded, while we'll also bring you highlights of Honorable Yakubu Dogara's visit to the Nigerian Stock Exchange that took place on Friday. But in the meantime, let's take a listen to the news.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, visited the Nigerian Stock Exchange in Lagos yesterday. He held a closed-door meeting with the exchange officials, had a chat with traders, and later sounded the closing gong. In a chat with Channels Television, the Speaker called for the sanction of operators who abuse the market in order to regain investors' confidence.
But the market has been able to rebound. Unfortunately, it has not attracted the kind of interest that was there in those days. And if you remember, those who perpetuated the distortions in the market or imperfections, created market imperfections, were not dealt with. So for a quite section of investing public in Nigeria, as long as people were not held accountable for their actions, they're not going to come back to the market, because what guarantees do they have that the same thing may not replicate itself? So that is where the problem is. So right now, I have concern of deepening the market. Why is it that companies who have all the incentives we can offer to companies operating in Nigeria, and they're making so much money on account of money that's flowing from our citizens to the corporation, because definitely it's flow of resources from the people that make the companies tick. Why is it that they're unwilling to cut on the market? Is there anything that we're supposed to do? Because as long as we don't deepen the market, it cannot deliver on its potentials. And there's no way we can make it number one in Africa.
Skye Bank remains owned by its shareholders and customers' deposits are safe. This is the message from the new board of the Tier 2 Commercial Bank, made known during their first visit to the market community of the Nigerian Stock Exchange in Lagos. Skye Bank board, led by its new chairman, Mr. Muhammad Ahmad, says the reconstitution was not a takeover.
It's an opportunity to be here. I understand we essentially have 5 minutes, and we'll try and work within the 5 minutes. For us who have been associated with the market, for us who have strong belief and the fact that the market is actually the market, we thought it's an opportunity that after being integrated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, we thought the first place to come should be the market, the exchange. We're here today, and we believe by the time we settle down, we'll come back to you and tell you what we have seen and what we're doing to address the issue. But beyond that, members of this exchange, is to let you know that we are here essentially as an intervention team. In other words, what happened in that bank was essentially change of management and board. Some of the board members of the board of directors are still there, and therefore it doesn't amount to take over This bank has not been taken over by Central Bank, and this bank is still owned by the shareholders. The second issue is that the Central Bank has given its words, is going to support this bank. So in other words, those who initially panicked because they assumed it was a takeover should please realize that whatever it takes for the Central Bank to support this institution, it will support it. And therefore it's not an issue of distress, but essentially it's an issue of corporate governance. And as the exchange, we should learn to start reflecting, differentiating between a takeover of an institution and changes in board and management. With the changes in board and management is largely as a result of corporate governance issues, which is there to be addressed. And thank God the previous directors have voluntarily resigned. And they resigned because they have tried their best, and unfortunately they have not been able to address some of those corporate governance issues. We hope and pray with their support and support of the market that the team that is before you today would ensure that those issues are addressed within a relatively shorter period of time. With the permission of the Chief Executive Officer, or who is representative Executive Officer, I will ask my colleague who is the GMD to perhaps give you a brief rundown. And as I said, we'll come back. We'll come back with a more detailed proposal because we need to still come back to the market. And we are conscious that this is the first port of call to stabilize this institution and ensure that at least we achieve the desired result.
The Central Bank of Nigeria says neither Skye Bank nor any other bank in the industry is in distress. This reaction is coming in the wake of the regulator's sacking of the board of Skye Bank on Monday. The CBN has clarified that the infusion of a new board and management for Skye Bank is meant to ensure that it does not continue to fail in its relevant prudential ratios. The financial regulator is asking Nigerians not to panic as their deposits remain safe. International ratings group Global Credit Ratings Company has affirmed Union Bank for Nigeria's credit ratings of BBB positive and A2 for long and short term respectively, and a stable outlook till June of 2017. According to the company, the ratings take into consideration the bank's improved market position in Nigeria's highly competitive banking industry. The management of Union Bank believe the latest ratings show some of the key successes of the bank's transformation program over the past few years. Lafarge Africa plc has issued a profit warning saying that its 2016 Q2 results are expected to be affected by the impact of the Naira devaluation against the US dollar, resulting in an unrealized exchange loss. In its filings to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the company says the current gas supply shortage is also expected to impact volumes for this quarter. The impact of the Naira devaluation is expected to be a 28 billion Naira unrealized exchange loss arising from US dollar borrowings, which at the first time of the devaluation consisted of 310 million US dollar shareholder loans and 85 million US dollars external loans. The National Bureau of Statistics is expected to release the June Consumer Price Index and inflation data on July the 16th. Ahead of the release, analysts at the financial derivatives company are projecting a drop in the inflation figure from 15.6% to 15.5%. In its latest inflation forecast, the FDC explains that the new exchange rate policy effectively reduced disposable income by 40% and led to a decline in prices at the commodities market in June. In the meantime, the analysts believe the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank will be closely monitoring the inflation data at its next meeting on the 25th and 26th of July. According to the FDC, a lower inflation number will ease the pressure on the policymakers.